Welcome to Aging Matters in New York, the podcast where we discuss the challenges, solutions, and stories of aging. Join hosts Vanessa and John as they shed light on the anticipated and current challenges of aging in our community. This podcast is brought to you by Together in Caring, trusted professionals in aging care. Let's navigate the journey of aging together.
Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at something that's going to completely reshape New York over the next decade.
Yeah. And that something is New York's aging population.
We're diving into some reports from the New York State Office for the Aging.
And, the fascinating thing is these reports, they don't frame this as a problem.
Oh, really?
See it as like this massive opportunity.
Interesting. So let's get a sense of the scale here. Just how much is this population actually supposed to grow?
It's pretty dramatic. By 2030, over 25% of New Yorkers will be over 60.
Wow.
And that's not just a New York City thing, by the way.
Okay.
52 out of 62 counties across the state
Wow.
will have at least a quarter of their residents aged 60 and over.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I can already hear some people thinking, wait, won't this be a strain on New York's resources?
Yeah.
What do these reports say about that?
Well, they actually flip that concern on its head.
Okay.
They highlight the economic power of this demographic.
Okay.
Did you know the 50-plus population in the U.S. already holds 83% of household wealth? 83%. That's incredible. And I'm guessing they're not just hoarding all that wealth, are they?
Exactly. Their spending supports millions of jobs.
Okay.
And New York, well, they're keenly aware of this. They want to not only keep retirees happy, but attract even more.
So it's not just about managing this population growth. It's about actually attracting more older adults to New York.
Yeah. It's about creating an environment that makes them want to be here.
That makes sense. So how do they plan to do that?
That's where New York's Master Plan for Aging comes in, the MPA.
Okay, the MPA.
Think of it as a roadmap to make New York the most inclusive state in the nation for older adults.
Wow, most inclusive. That sounds ambitious. What makes this plan different?
Well, for one, the sheer scale of collaboration is impressive. Over 350 experts from all sorts of different fields are working on it. But what really struck me is that it's not just about, like senior centers or special programs just for older people.
Okay.
It's about creating communities that benefit everyone, regardless of their age. So it's not about segregating older adults, but integrating them more fully into life in New York. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly it. And to do that, the plan focuses on 10, what they call pillars, addressing different aspects of life here in New York.
Okay, 10 pillars. Given that our listener is particularly interested in how New York is preparing for this increase in older adults over the next 10 years, which of those pillars should we focus on today?
Well, let's start with housing. It's a big one. As the older adult population grows, the need for suitable housing, well, it's only going to become more crucial.
You're not just talking about any housing, though, right?
Yep.
You're talking about this age-friendly housing. What exactly does that look like?
Well, think about it this way. It's about creating homes and communities that are both physically accessible and socially engaging.
Okay.
Imagine easy navigation, close proximity to essential services, and a real variety of housing options to cater to different needs and lifestyles.
So it's not just about building more senior centers or assisted living facilities. It's about creating a more integrated approach to housing where different generations can interact.
Yes. And the MPA, it doesn't shy away from exploring some really innovative options, too.
Such as?
Repurposing unused spaces for senior housing, for instance, or looking into things like microhomes or co-housing, where people can share common spaces and resources.
Microhomes and co-housing. Those are really interesting ideas. But with New York's already limited housing, how realistic is it to increase the availability of these age-friendly options?
That's a great question. It's a valid concern. And the MPA, they do acknowledge the challenges. They're talking about things like exploring zoning relief to encourage development of these types of housing
Okay.
and creative financing solutions to make them more affordable.
So it's not just about building more units. It's about building the right kinds of units in the right places and making sure they're affordable.
Right.
Okay. So housing is just one piece of the puzzle, though. What other challenges does the MPA address when it comes to this rapidly growing older adult population?
Well, another crucial issue is caregiver support.
Yeah.
As the number of older adults increases, so will the demand for caregivers, right? And we're already facing a potential shortage.
That's worrying. So what strategies does the MPA have to address this caregiver shortage?
Well, first and foremost, they want to make caregiving jobs more attractive.
Yeah.
That means better wages and benefits, more flexible training options, and really elevating the status of caregiving as a profession.
It makes sense, right?
Mhm.
If you want to attract and retain talented caregivers, you have to make it a worthwhile career.
Exactly. And they're exploring other solutions too, like simplifying access to resources and benefits for both older adults and their caregivers.
Okay.
Imagine a one-stop online portal that cuts through all the red tape.
Yeah, that would be huge, especially for people struggling to navigate the system as it is. Okay, so we've got housing, caregiver support. What else is critical for New York as it prepares for this population shift?
Well, let's talk about the affordability of basic necessities. This is a concern for a lot of older adults, especially those on fixed incomes.
Right.
The rising cost of living, it can make it so difficult to afford essentials like housing, food, healthcare.
I can imagine those are challenges for people of all ages.
Yeah.
But they must become even more acute for older adults who are living on a fixed income.
Huh.
What does the MPA say about tackling this issue of affordability?
They're looking at a multi-pronged approach, so expanding access to existing benefit programs is key, and making it easier for older adults to stay in the workforce longer if they choose to, which can help supplement their income.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But it's not always that easy, is it? Many older adults may face ageism in the workplace or struggle to find jobs that fit their skills.
Absolutely, and the MPA addresses that head on. They propose more training opportunities specifically for older adults, as well as encouraging employers to hire and retain experienced workers.
So it's about recognizing that older adults have valuable skills to contribute and making it possible for them to stay engaged in the workforce.
Yeah.
But something that really struck me in these reports is how important it is to make sure that all these efforts reach every community, especially those that have been historically disadvantaged. Why is that so important in this context?
Well, because those communities often face greater barriers when it comes to accessing services and resources.
Hmm.
They might have limited transportation options, a lack of affordable housing, and they often face disparities in healthcare. And then on top of that, they might have language barriers, cultural differences that make it even harder to navigate the system.
So it's not just about creating programs, it's about making sure they're accessible and equitable for all older adults, regardless of background or circumstances.
Exactly, and the MPA pushes for that. They're investing in community-based organizations that can provide culturally competent care. They're also working on transportation and housing needs in a way that benefits these underserved populations.
It sounds like New York is trying to make sure no one gets left behind.
That's the goal. And to do that, they're really engaging with people across the state. Think town halls, surveys, listening to the voices of older adults and their families.
It's great to see that kind of collaborative and inclusive approach to planning. It makes me feel hopeful that these efforts will lead to real change.